Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Grapevine CrossFit Podcast. This is your host, Brandon Head, and I'm gonna dive right into it today because I got some important stuff to talk about. It took me a long time to realize this, but I guess I'm in the growth business, right? Doesn't have to necessarily mean fitness, doesn't have to mean nutrition, doesn't have to mean personal stuff, mindset. It's kind of all encompassing. And what's really cool about that is I've kind of watched and learned how and when people grow. And usually right out of the gate when somebody walks into our gym, I have a pretty good sense of whether or not that person's going to make it long term in our gym. You can kind of pick up based on conversations, based on how they react within our fundamentals class. That's our starting out class. And get an idea of their mentality and how that is going to move them forward and how it's going to progress them within their journey on the fitness and nutrition side. When somebody decides to get healthy, they've made a choice to try to quit something, right? They know that they've been leading a bad lifestyle or they've been eating bad, they put on some weight over the years, they're like, all right, I'm time to stop. But the biggest problem is usually when they realize the work that is required to make a change in your life, they don't stick with it. And I think one of our biggest combative pieces in the gym is getting people to stick with something because everybody's wired differently. And so we have tried ways and efforts to try to get people to stick with us. And it doesn't have to be with us. It's just try to stick with the healthy lifestyle because realistically, if you look out in today's world, you see how many people aren't living that life. And it doesn't have to be in a CrossFit gym. The good news about a CrossFit gym, though, is if you just let the gym, the culture, do its work, then ultimately you change as well. That is kind of the beauty of what a CrossFit gym will bring to you versus going to another gym. It assimilates you into the fitness mindset, and in turn, you start getting healthier, you start wanting to eat better, you start feeling better, you meet like-minded people, and then you look down the road and all of a sudden you've made these huge changes in your life. Now, it's the people that don't allow for that change that don't stick with us. Sorry for the kid in the background there. I got some free time this morning, so here we are. And if I wait around for everybody to fall asleep all the time, I'm never going to have any time. So I just got to do it. And then staring at my notes here so I don't get off track. I think, again, once people realize what has to be done to promote growth and change in their life, and they meet some resistance in that, that tends to cause problems. And so the universe does its best to help you, and it does its best to stop you, right? So we have to be in tune with that and then be willing to fight through those times when it's trying to stop us to move forward, okay? And whatever you may believe in, universe, God, whoever, there's something there. I'm not saying God's trying to stop you or there's just things within our realm and our universe that try to stop us on a consistent basis. Like wanting to stay in bed when you know you need to get up and go to sleep. But I think it's the perception on when we want to see change that also keeps us from wanting to make those changes. I'm going to give you an analogy here. When you step into the gym and when you start a fitness plan and you don't see results in a month, 9 out of 10 people get frustrated with that. Now, let's compare that to somebody who comes in 3 days a week versus 5 days a week, consistently over a month. Who do you think is probably going to see more change in their life, right? It's probably going to be the person that comes 5 days a week. They're just being more active in general. Now, let's say it doesn't have to be necessarily be in the gym. Let's just say they're being active 5 days a week versus 3 days a week. That person is more likely going to see change in a month than one person. Now, extrapolate that into 3, 6, 9, and 12 months, right? Now, who do you think is going to definitely see more change, and how people can get frustrated with not seeing enough change in their body? You have 7 days in a week, right? And if you're only being active 3 of those days and not fixing anything else in your life, 3, 6, 9, 12, it's going to get frustrating. You're going to not put forth the effort because you feel like you're putting forth the effort, even though it's a small percentage of effort just on the physical side, versus the person who's putting in a larger percentage of effort during the week, going to see more changes. Now, we add in things like working on your sleep, working on your nutrition. Let's say the person who works out 3 days a week but eats good 7 days a week versus the person who works out 5 days a week and only eats good 3 days a week. Who do you think is going to see more progress? To be determined, but I'm willing to bet the person that's working on everything, even coming in 3 days a week, is going to see more progress in the long term. My point here is that physical activity doesn't necessarily have to be the main driver of your fitness state. It's the consistency in which you follow that plan that produces the results. And most of us aren't willing to see far enough out and go through the trials and the struggles far enough out to realistically see that change because we want it now. If we can get that mentality out of your mind and look down the road 3 to 6 months, consistently hitting the gym, eating good most of the time, you will see change and you'll be happy with the change that you see. Now, the double-edged sword to that. Once we start seeing change, we're like, all right, this is working. I can let up a little bit. I can let off the gas. Can't do that. That's everything trying to bring me back down to normal, right? We've been working really hard for 3 to 6 months, but now you've lost like 10 pounds. You're like, oh, I can start introducing some of the foods I used to eat. And then 3 months later, you've put those 10 pounds back on and you haven't been as consistent in the gym. You have to realize that this is a lifelong thing. There are probably going to be ebbs and flows like this, and that's a good thing. It's a healthy thing. It keeps you always wanting, right? Always wanting more, and it keeps you active and engaged, especially when you kind of fluctuate in weight. Weight's not going to always do this. Weight's not always going to do this either. If you keep those things consistent, you're going to see some real progress in your life, and not just on the physical side. Yeah, working out does wonderful things to your body, but think about what it does to your mind. Think about those days, for those of y'all that have been doing this for a long time, those days when you miss maybe a couple days of workouts in a row and your mind's like, hey, I need to do something active. That's what I'm talking about. You don't realize that when you haven't been in this, and now you get to enjoy and reap the benefits of having been active for that long. I really want to push the idea of fighting through the first few months of trying anything new. And that's where that's the biggest, most volatile time in trying to stick with something, because it is new. It's frustrating. It's so frustrating. And again, I know a lot of times when we start a physical program, because we're having to get adaptations in our body, learn new things, we're not as intense as we could be. We're really kind of ramping it up. We're learning about nutrition. We're learning about healthy habits. And so those changes, they're not going to be immediate. And I understand the frustration with that. And if you can just let go of those frustrations and realize that it's not going to be immediate, the work that you're putting in today will be seen 3 to 6 months down the road or more. But you have to put it in today. You have to do it tomorrow. You have to do it the next day. And then all of a sudden, you're 3 months in, you've lost 15 pounds, you look great, you feel great. But what if you only stayed for 2 months? What if you didn't do it consistently? What if you thought, hey, I'm going to work out 3 days a week. That's a step in the right direction, but you did nothing else. And then 2 months later, you're like, I haven't lost any weight. But you're still eating out. You're still going to happy hours every day. You know? I understand your frustration. It's frustrating for us as well as coaches because we know the potential of every person that walks in the door, and we want to feed that potential. And I don't know any other way to say it other than good things happen when you stay consistent with this stuff. And it's not going to be a month. It's not going to be 2 months. Go talk to anybody in our gym that's been there for longer than 5 years. Fitness is a lifestyle. It's a way of life for them. They get grumpy when they don't go to the gym. They eat right most of the time. You can tell the people, you can look at them physically and tell the people that consistently go to the gym and consistently eat good. It's bottom line. And you can get there too if you're somebody that's just starting out, that's fresh to this, or thinking about starting out. It doesn't take much time relative to time to get into the swing of things. 1 month, 2 months, ain't gonna happen. If you wanna do something for 1 or 2 months, I guess we'll see you down the road, right? Invest your time, invest your money, invest your energy into that thing that you want to change, whether it's weight, whether it's your life, maybe somebody dumped you, maybe you want to look different. Invest your time and energy in that. Reap the benefits down the road. It ain't going to be quick. Lastly, a note about your problems and why you can't consistently get to the gym, why you can't make those changes. Everybody has these problems. Everybody has these struggles. You're not new. You're not specific, or you're not something that we've never seen. Okay? I'm willing to bet 100% of the time somebody's gone through the same thing that you have. People have gone through worse too. So making excuses about why we can't do certain things, it's not worth your time or your energy. Our problems that we have day to day, they're not complicated at all. They're simple. We're designed to be problem solvers. We're supposed to look at the problem and say, hey, what do I need to do to fix this? You've put on 20 pounds. Your problem is you put on 20 pounds. What's the solution? Eat less, move more. It's not that complicated. The problem is because, let me back up. Problems aren't complicated. It's the way that we think about them. It's the way you think about your problems that's complicated. So let me say that again. Your problems are not complicated. It's the way you think about your problems that's complicated, right? You complicate your own problems by digging too much into them, by feeling sorry for yourself because you put on the weight, not because you need to stop eating and get more active. That's how you complicate. That's what makes it seem so hard to move forward with the process. When in reality, if you look at the issue at hand and you design a solution instead of making an excuse, all you got to do is get after it. Here's a big one. I don't have the time to get to the gym. That one is huge. I don't have the time. Maybe you don't. Our gym is open from some mornings 5 a.m. in the morning or 5:30 in the morning until 8 at night. And if you physically can't make those times, then I don't know how to help you on that one. But more often than not, you can squeeze it in there somewhere. You just haven't decided or made the choice to make it a priority to do it. So, if you have to be at work at 9 o'clock, maybe you have kids. For me, it's hard. I can't physically work out in the mornings because I have a couple of kiddos. Mom goes to work early, and at our gym, I can't physically go into the gym in that time to make things work out here, right? My kids get up at 6 o'clock, and our earliest time is 5. I wouldn't be back in time, and my wife leaves on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday by 5:45. I get that. But there's a lot of hours left in the day, right? And so if I go to work at 9 and I get off at 5, we got these times that are 5 p.m., 6 p.m., and 7 p.m. Now the excuse to that is, I don't want to work out at 6 p.m. Okay, you're not willing to make the sacrifice to do so or make it a priority. You can work out at 6. You just got to balance it out. I got to go home and make dinner for the kids. Maybe you have a spouse to help you with that. Maybe you plan it out a week, beginning of the week, on the days that you're supposed to be there, where you get home, all you have to do is heat up the food instead of make it. Right? It's all about priorities. We're looking at the excuse. We're not looking at the solution. Maybe the solution is you just got to get up earlier. Stop going to bed so late and get your stuff done before you actually have to be at work. For some of us, the excuse is, well, I don't want to get up earlier. That's tough shit. You either do it or you don't. And if you don't, then you're going to continue being in the same situation that you are today 6 months from now. Same thing with changing your eating habits. Same thing with being active. Again, those that are active 3 days a week, you get a check plus for being active 3 days a week, but it's going to be harder for you because you're at a negative balance with the overall time within that week. That means you have to be more on point with certain things. Those that aren't doing any activity, they're even further behind. Now, you could eat right, you could sleep well, and you could have minimal activity and be better off than the person who's going to the gym 3 days a week and not eating right and not sleeping right. That's just a side point. My overall point here is, back in the beginning, I talked about growth and how we, as gym owners, as coaches, are in the growth business, because once you step foot into our gym, everything grows. Right? You just have to give it the time. And I think that's the point of this whole podcast, this whole episode, is we're not willing to give it the time and requirements and dedication that it needs for it to be beneficial. And that goes for every single thing in your life that you're looking to change. Not just fitness, not just nutrition, not just your health. You got a shitty relationship with your wife or your husband? Probably not spending enough time on it. It's bottom line. You're looking at the excuse as to why, not the solution. Every single thing starts today. The action that you put in today, you'll see the benefit of down the road. You won't see it tomorrow. Wife gets on you about doing the dishes. You did the dishes tonight. You didn't do them tomorrow night. She gets on you about not doing the dishes. You're not consistent, right? You missed a night. But what if you did the dishes without her having to tell you for 6 months? What is she going to say? That you don't do the dishes? No. What if you tell her you loved her every single day without fail for 6 months? Do you think she's going to feel unloved? Apply those principles to your life, to your daily life. Watch the benefits, watch the return 3 to 6 months, year down the road. But you're going to have to flip that switch in your head a little bit to make sure that you don't give up on it too soon. Because it could be day 89 and you quit, and day 90 was the return. It's as simple as that. Focus on the solution, don't focus on the excuse. Know that it's going to take time, but that time starts today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. A little bit of a rant there. Look forward to the next episode. If you didn't check out our previous episode on water, go back and check that out, because that kind of ties in with this today, getting healthy and in shape and just feeling better. But thanks for listening. Those of y'all watching, thanks for watching. Hope y'all have a great day.